Stop overreacting, Olivia. It's just anxiety. That's what my mom said right before I hit the kitchen floor, gasping for air. Her voice was cold, the same tone she used when she told me to fix my face after my dad's funeral. My name is Olivia Pierce. I'm 29 years old, a marketing executive, and the daughter my mother never wanted to understand. That morning, I woke up dizzy, my chest tight. I told her I didn't feel right, that something was wrong. She rolled her eyes. You're too dramatic. Always making everything about yourself. Then she went back to reading the old paperwork, sipping her coffee like nothing mattered except her share of my late father's estate. My sister, Claire, smirked from across the table. Her husband chuckled. And me? I clutched my chest, trying to breathe. The pain spread, sharp, electric, radiating down my left arm. I stumbled, tried to call out, but my voice cracked. No one moved. When I collapsed, the mug shattered near my head. I saw their feet, frozen. My mother's gasp wasn't fear. It was annoyance. See? She's doing it again, she muttered. Then everything went dark. When I opened my eyes, I was in an ambulance, oxygen mask tight against my face. A paramedic whispered, "You're lucky." A few more minutes and I didn't hear the rest. I just closed my eyes and thought, she didn't even call them. When I woke up again, the world was white and humming. Antiseptic, cold, too bright. Tubes in my arm, beeping machines. For a moment, I thought I'd died. But then I heard voices outside the curtain. Just exhaustion. My mother's sharp tone cut through. She's always been sensitive. The nurse's voice was calm, but firm. "Ma'am, your daughter had a cardiac episode. She's lucky she got here in time." Lucky. That word landed like a cruel joke. I shifted slightly, pain flaring in my chest, and the curtain slid open. My sister, Claire, was there. She wore pity like perfume. Overdone, artificial. "You scared Mom half to death," she said with a little laugh. I wanted to scream, but my throat burned too much to make a sound. Later, the doctor, a tall man with kind eyes, came to my bedside. "Miss Pierce, you had a severe arrhythmia, possibly stress-induced. Has anything been difficult at home?" I almost laughed. Difficult? Try living with a woman who blamed you for your father's death, who said you were too emotional to deserve love, who called you weak for going to therapy. But I just nodded and said, "I've had some stress." He hesitated, his expression darkening. "We'll talk more when you're stronger." I didn't know what he meant then, but the way he looked at me told me something was coming. Something that would turn my mother's world inside out. By the time they let me sit up, it was night. The monitor beside me blinked steadily, like a metronome for my heartbeat, proof I was still here, still alive despite my mother's neglect. Claire had gone home. My mother hadn't left the hospital lobby, but not out of concern, out of control. She wanted to know what the doctors knew before I did. She always did. When the nurse helped me sip some water, I asked quietly, "Did my mom call the ambulance?" The nurse hesitated, then shook her head. "No, sweetheart. A neighbor did. She heard the yelling." My stomach turned cold. Of course. My mother wouldn't lift a finger for me unless there was something to gain. When the doctor came back, my mom followed him in, smiling too wide. "Doctor, she's fine now, right? Can we settle the discharge papers soon? We've had a long week." The doctor didn't even sit down. He looked at me first, then at her. "Mrs. Pierce, I think you should take a seat." Her fake smile faltered. "Is there a problem?" He folded his arms. "Actually, yes. Your daughter's test results show cardiac inflammation consistent with prolonged emotional stress and panic suppression. That doesn't happen overnight. It takes years." My mother blinked, stiff. "So?" He looked her dead in the eye. "So, Mrs. Pierce, it means your daughter's heart has been breaking slowly, and someone's been helping it along." The room went silent. My mother's lips twitched, the kind of twitch that used to make me flinch as a kid. "Are you implying something, doctor?" she asked, her tone sugar-coated but sharp enough to cut glass. Dr. Rowand didn't blink. "I'm not implying. I'm telling you. Chronic psychological stress, gaslighting, verbal abuse, It shows up in the body. Your daughter's heart didn't fail, out of nowhere. The air turned thick. My mother crossed her arms. Olivia has always been dramatic. I did everything for her after her father died. I couldn't stay quiet anymore. You mean after he had a heart attack while you were screaming at him? Her head snapped toward me. How dare you? Enough, the doctor said firmly, his voice like thunder in a quiet church. Mrs. Pierce, maybe it's time you stop treating pain as an inconvenience. She stared at him, speechless. That was rare. My mother didn't lose arguments. She ended them. The nurse shifted uncomfortably. I sat there trembling, tears cutting through the hospital light. Dr. Rowan softened his tone and looked at me. We'll keep you under observation tonight. Tomorrow morning, a social worker will come by to talk about next steps. Next steps, my mother repeated, trying to regain her power. Yes, he said calmly, including protective options if needed. Her mask cracked for the first time in my life. She looked small, cornered. I lay back against the pillows and whispered. Finally. The next morning, sunlight spilled through the hospital blinds, soft, golden, merciful. But I felt hollow. My hands trembled as I sipped water, replaying every word from the night before. Protective options. It echoed in my mind like a secret I wasn't allowed to believe. Mom didn't come back that morning. She'd left before dawn, probably spinning the story to Claire. I could already hear it. Olivia overreacted again. The doctor misunderstood. You know how she is. But this time someone had understood. Around 9 a.m., a woman in her late 40s entered my room. She wore a navy blazer and had kind, tired eyes. Olivia Pierce? Yes, I croaked. I'm Dana Wells, hospital social worker. Dr. Rowan briefed me on your situation. I'm here to help you make a safety plan. Safety plan? She nodded, pulling up a chair. You're not crazy, Olivia. What you've described, the gaslighting, emotional manipulation, the dismissal of pain, that's abuse. You've been living in fight or flight for years. Your body finally called for help. My throat tightened. She's my mother. Dana met my eyes. And you're her daughter, not her punching bag. For a long time, I couldn't speak. My heart monitor beeped softly, steady but fragile, like it knew the truth was finally being said aloud. Dana placed her card in my hand. When you leave this hospital, you don't have to go home. For the first time in my life, that sentence felt like freedom. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my mother's face, that cold, dismissive look she'd worn all my life. The look that told me pain was weakness, tears were manipulation, and obedience was love. But something had shifted inside me. The silence between heartbeats now sounded like a drumbeat of war. The next morning, I signed the discharge papers. Dana was waiting outside with a small, reassuring smile and a manila folder. These are your legal options, she said softly. Restraining order, therapy referrals, housing assistance, and one more thing. She handed me a note written in neat, strong handwriting. You deserve peace. Dr. Rowan. I smiled through my tears. Please thank him for me. As I stepped out of the hospital doors, the sky was a pale blue, the kind that promised a new chapter, even if it started in loneliness. I didn't go home. I went to a small motel near the river, one I'd passed 1,000 times but never noticed. I sat on the bed, phone in hand, and stared at my mother's contact. I thought of the years she'd cut me down, the guilt she'd fed me, the love she twisted into servitude. Then I pressed record. Hi, Mom, I said. My voice was calm. You always told me I'd never survive without you. But the truth is, you wouldn't have survived this without me. And I ended the call. By the third day, the hospital smell was gone from my skin, but the strength it gave me lingered. I'd found a small apartment, one room, one window, one lock that only I controlled. It wasn't much, but it was mine. When I told Claire where I was, she exploded. Mom's devastated. You embarrassed her. You should apologize before she cuts you off completely. I laughed, really laughed, for the first time in years. Claire, she already did. She cut me off emotionally a long time ago. I'm just catching up. There was a pause, then a hiss. You think you're the victim? I don't think, I said quietly. I know. I hung up before she could reply. That night, I sat by the window, watching the city lights flicker on. Freedom, I learned, doesn't feel like fireworks. It feels like stillness. Like finally hearing your own breathing without someone telling you it's too loud. I opened Dana's folder again. Among the pamphlets, one card caught my eye, a local support group for survivors of family trauma. Wednesday, 6 p.m. I traced the address with my finger, whispering, okay, one step at a time. When I finally lay down, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Olivia, this is Dr. Rowan. Just checking in. Remember, healing isn't weakness. It's rebellion. I smiled into the dark. For once, rebellion felt holy. 6 months later, the air in Savannah felt softer. Or maybe I did. My chest no longer ached when I woke up. The scar on my lip, from when my mother's ring had struck me years ago, had faded to a faint line. Every Wednesday, I sat in that small circle of folding chairs, surrounded by women who'd learned to rise. We didn't trade pity. We traded power, stories, laughter. One evening after group, I stayed behind to stack chairs. Dana walked over, her smile warm. You look different, Olivia. I feel different, I said. Lighter. Like I finally stopped carrying someone else's guilt. She nodded. That's what freedom sounds like. Weeks later, I ran into Dr. Rowan at the grocery store. He was buying coffee, same brand my dad used to love. When he saw me, his face lit up. Well, look at you, he said. How's the heart? I placed a hand on my chest and smiled. Stronger than ever. He chuckled softly. I knew it would be. Then he leaned closer, his tone shifting, calm, deliberate. You'd be surprised how many broken hearts aren't from love lost, but from love abused. I nodded. Not anymore. I know the difference now. That night, I drove past my mother's house. The lights were on. The laughter inside was faint, foreign. I didn't stop, because peace doesn't live there anymore. It lives here, inside me. And for the first time in my life, I was finally free.